Celebrities I have seen in real life. Hi, how are you? So yesterday I recorded this week's episode, and this topic this week is celebrities that I've seen in real life. And when I recorded yesterday, I recorded an hour and 15 minutes, because to my surprise, I have actually seen over 70 celebrities in real life, which is a lot of people to talk about in a single YouTube episode. And I like to keep my episodes to about 20 minutes so I don't overstay my welcome, and so it's easier for me to edit. And so what I've done is I have broken down this week's episode into 3 parts. And today I'm going to post the first 30 minutes, and then I'm going to post the next on Wednesday morning, and then I'm going to show part 3. I'm going to post that on Sunday next week in the afternoon. And so, because that was just the best way to do it, to make it easier for me, and I don't know if you could listen to me talk for an hour and 15 minutes. So I've broken it down into 3 episodes. And I really appreciate your patience for waiting between the parts of this episode. And I hope you really enjoy it. And thanks for hanging out with me. And today's episode will be about the celebrities I've seen from age 3 to 18. On Wednesday, I'll talk about the celebrities that I saw while I was in college, and a trip to London and New York. And on next Sunday, I will talk about the celebrities I saw while I was living in San Francisco. And so anyway, I really enjoyed talking about this topic, and I hope you enjoy it, listening to it. And thanks for hanging out with me. And here is part 1 of celebrities I saw in real life. Have a great week. Celebrities I have seen in real life. Hi, how are you? I've been looking forward to talking about this topic for a long time now, because talking about celebrities is a really interesting topic. At least I think so. And but the reason I haven't done it for a while is because I don't know how I'm going to get through it. Because one day I thought it'd be fun to make a list of the celebrities I've seen in real life, and I thought there would be 10 or 20, and it turns out there's over 70 celebrities I have seen. And usually my YouTube videos are about 20 minutes long. I don't know how I'm going to list 70 celebrities and tell you about them in 20 minutes. So this episode might be a little longer than normal. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to tell you the celebrities I've seen in real life in chronological order and tell you a brief story about them or that encounter. And then I'm going to try to move at a brisk pace. I hope you really enjoy this because, anyway, I hope you have a good time. So the first celebrity I ever saw is Smokey the Bear. I was 3 years old, and I really don't remember much about meeting Smokey, although he did tell me that it was important to prevent forest fires. So anyway, that was that one. The next one, 4 months later, I saw Ronald McDonald. For some reason, Ronald McDonald was hanging out at a McDonald's in my town in 1974. And I don't know what Ronald was talking about. Probably something about, gosh, it's great to eat here. And I remember thinking that, gosh, it must be really great to be Ronald McDonald because you get to eat McDonald's food as much as you want for free all the time. But that was before McNuggets. McNuggets were not served nationwide until 1983, so in 1974, it wouldn't have been as good to eat all the McDonald's food, so it would have been much more fun being Ronald McDonald during the McNugget availability years. Anyway, there's that. So, gosh, how am I going to get through this? Okay, the next one. Robin from Batman and Robin. The Batman TV show was on from 1966 to 1968, 3 seasons. And then afterwards, I guess Burt Ward, who played Robin on the TV series, for the next, 7 years was doing guest appearances, going around the country signing autographs for people, which sounds like a great gig. I would do that. 3 years on a TV show, and then a bunch of years afterwards, just signing autographs for people. That'd be great. I'd do that. So anyway, at the time, I was way too shy to meet Robin. This was at the Expo Center in Portland, Oregon. And luckily, my sister went up for me because I was just too shy. How old was I? This is 1970. I was 4 years old. I was too shy to meet Robin, but it was so exciting to see him. And so she went up and got Robin to sign an autographed picture of himself for me and brought it to me. And I remember hanging the Robin picture on my wall of him climbing a wall as Robin. And some black and white picture. I have no idea where it is, but anyway, that was exciting. I got to meet Robin. All right. Well, I didn't meet Robin. My sister met Robin. I got to see Robin. Anyway, you know, the thing about this is that out of those over 70 celebrities, I only talked to about 4. So the rest of them were kind of in the same room as me, or I saw them on the street. But I really only talked to about 4 of them. Talked to or with 4 of them. Anyway, we'll get to that. How's this going so far? Then I met Santa Claus. So this was 1976. And I think I went to the mall, and man, this is the coolest Santa ever. Look at those glasses. Look at those 1976 glasses on Santa. Man, he looks so cool. And then I went to Disneyland. So this was 1978, went to Disneyland, and I think it was like the 50th anniversary of something, because Mickey Mouse has a 50th thing behind him. And then I got to meet Tigger, and I met Pooh Bear, and saw Mickey Mouse in the float for the light parade that evening. And I wondered why the cartoons Mickey spoke, but the big people, the big Mickey and the big Tigger characters, they didn't talk. And I didn't know why they wouldn't talk. I was saying hi, and all they would do was... And I'm curious, if you go to Disneyland or Disney World now, do they talk? Do they have like microphones now? Because they didn't used to talk. Otherwise, you'd hear somebody in the, I'm in a costume. So I'm just curious, what are they doing now? Do they talk now? Have they figured this out? Do they have microphones now? Or do they still, the characters not talk? Anyway, the next one, Happy Days. Okay. So there was this TV show, you probably heard it, the Happy Days, Fonzie. Okay, so when was it? This was 1981. And the cast of Happy Days came to Portland and played a baseball game. And I'm not sure exactly who they were playing against, but for some reason they were at this baseball stadium in Portland, Oregon. And there's Fonzie, and there's Ralph, and there's Marion. And I wish we had better seats. That would have been better, but it was just great to see them anyway. And I did some research on the interweb, the internet thing, the new technologies everybody's using. And it turns out that the show creator, Gary Marshall, who also created Mork and Mindy and Laverne and Shirley, he started a baseball team with the cast of Happy Days in order to bring the cast together as kind of a bonding activity. And so he put together this baseball team with the cast, and they would go play other teams like local DJs and game show hosts and other celebrities in these baseball games in order to raise money for charity. And I guess they did this for several years. And they raised millions of dollars for charities by doing these baseball games. And it just seems like a really, really great idea. And I guess it really brought the cast closer together. So anyway, I saw one of those in 1981. What's next? Do people even know who Fonzie is? I'm curious. Do you know what Happy Days is? Do you know about Fonzie? I'm curious if the legacy still lives on. Okay. Speaking of Gary Marshall, who created Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. Laverne and Shirley, I was watching an episode, and there was these 2 guys, I guess Laverne and Shirley went on a date with. This was 1983, I think. 83, something around there. I was in the 4th grade, and I went to school one day, and they had an assembly, and these 2 guys put on a concert. And I recognized them as the 2 guys who had been on a recent Laverne and Shirley episode. I was like, that's them, I swear. And I'm pretty darn sure it was them. It's been a while, but I'm almost positive it was them. And they put on a concert at my elementary school. They were playing cover songs or whatever, and then they said, is it anyone's birthday today? And it was my birthday. And so I went up on stage in front of everyone, and I'm a shy kid. This is like my nightmare. And I go up and they sing happy birthday to me. They get, they play the guitars and they get the entire school to sing happy birthday to me. And I'm just like, okay, this is great. When is this going to be over? And so, I'm just sweating. And finally it's over and they shake my hand or whatever and they wish me happy birthday and I go back to my seat. But man, that was just the odds of it being my birthday and seeing those guys from the TV show. It was just a crazy event. And then afterwards, we had our recess, and I talked to them. This is one of the celebrities I spoke with. They were moving all their music gear out of the elementary school into some crappy van in 1983. So they must just travel around to schools, putting on a concert. I don't know who these guys were, whether they were actors who were also musicians or musicians who just happened to be on Laverne and Shirley as actors. I don't know. But I asked them, I said, you're the guys from Laverne and Shirley. And I'm almost positive they said yes. Or they were just humoring me and said, sure. And they put their speakers and their equipment, their musical gear in the van and then took off. And so, anyway, does that count as a celebrity encounter? Let's count that. Okay. And then also in 4th grade, I went to my first concert. I saw John Denver. Yay! John Denver's awesome, man. And just going to a concert, that was my first concert. I'd never been to a concert before. It was huge. It was at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland. And he most concerts usually take place on the side of the stadium. He played in the center. So he performed his concert for the front, for this row and then this row, and he turned his back and he performed in the round. And I don't remember much from the concert except he played all those songs, and then he also said that he doesn't eat before a concert because he doesn't want to burp during his song. That's the only thing I remember from that concert, really, other than the performances. So anyway, saw John Denver. Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to count them as celebrities. I went to some Trailblazer games in the 1980s and 70s, and so I would have seen Kevin Duckworth, Jerome Kersey, Clyde Drexler, Jim Paxton, Terry Porter, and Larry Steele. I would have seen those guys. So I'm going to count those all as celebrities. I went to some Trailblazer games. So, while growing up, my parents also took me to the Keller Auditorium, downtown Portland, which coincidentally had my graduation ceremony for high school there. And we saw Hello, Dolly, and it was starring Carol Channing. Carol Channing, constantly on The Tonight Show and big Hollywood celebrity. And she talked like this, hello, Dolly. And I don't remember much from it, but it was, it was a celebrity sighting. I saw Carol Channing. So anyway, Cub Scouts, our Cub Scouts went to visit a radio station in Portland. We went to KEX, and we got into the radio station, and it was just so cool with all the buttons and the gears and the stuff. It was like walking into a spaceship. And we met the DJ guy, and he talked into the microphone. Hi, this is KEX, blah, blah, blah. And he interviewed us. I was too shy to talk, but some of my, other Cub Scout friends, they talked on the air. They were on the radio, and it was really cool. And it made me like, I want to be a radio DJ. This is so cool. And I will talk about that in a future episode of my interest in radio, because I also was inspired from that. I think from that, when I went to the University of Portland, I did some time as a DJ on the campus radio station, and I will tell you about that in a future YouTube episode. When I was going to middle school, they had another band that came to our school called Freedom Jam. This would have been like 1984, 85. And there was this band of 4 or 5 guys, and it was like a full band, man, and they were rocking. They had electric guitars and drums, and it was loud. And it was in our middle school gymnasium, and they played all kinds of cover songs of, whatever songs were cool back then. And then they had a concert later that night. And I think it cost like $7 or something like that. And we went there and saw the concert. And man, they put on, they were dressed, these rockers, these leopard. It was like, they looked like Spinal Tap. Leopard print, tight red pants. And they played Jump by Van Halen. And the guy jumped. He was like doing splits in the air when he was rocking and playing. Oh man, and I had a Freedom Jam poster that I got from it, and I tried to find it, and I will keep looking for it, but I don't know if I can find it. Freedom Jam came to my school. I don't know where they are now. But anyway, that was cool. So I saw Freedom Jam. Next I saw, speaking of musical acts, Maynard Ferguson came to our high school and put on a concert. Now, Maynard Ferguson was a famous trumpet player. I guess he was a big jazz trumpet player. He's famous for mostly, I think, he did a jazz version of the Rocky theme, Gonna Fly Now. And man, he put that concert on at our high school auditorium. And it rocked. This guy could play the trumpet. And I guess the reason he came to our high school is because our music teacher knew Maynard Ferguson. I wasn't a music student. I was in the journalism department, but that was cool. And then the music teacher at our high school also knew David Sanborn. And so when I was senior year, I was one of the editors of the school newspaper, and I was also reporting stuff. And anytime anything interesting happened at my high school, I would go to it, because one of the reasons I joined journalism department is because you could get out of classes to go do an interview. Or if there was an exciting event, I'd say, well, I can't go to science class today. I got to go interview David Sanborn or something like that. And so I never interviewed David Sanborn, but I did go into the music room when David Sanborn came in, and he's got his big hair and his cool sunglasses. I mean, this guy was awesome. This guy looked so cool. He was cooler than Fonzie. He was cooler than 1976 Santa. So David Sanborn came into the music room, and he talked to the music students, and he answered their questions, and he had his leather jacket on. I mean, he was rock and roll. He was a saxophonist. And I remember David Sanborn because he used to play on the David Letterman show sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes he would stop by and jam with the band. And he also was on the Grammy Awards because Billy Joel played New York, what's the song? What's the song? I'm in a New York state of mind. Billy Joel played that song at the Grammys, and playing the saxophone part was David Sanborn. And so he came to our high school, and afterwards he was signing autographs. And I went over, I don't think I got his autograph, but I was standing next to him, and he turned and his shoulder bumped my arm, and he goes, "Oh, sorry." And I go, "That's cool." Because I wanted to be cool too. So that was one of the celebrities that I spoke to. I spoke to David Sanborn. "Oh, sorry." "That's cool." And I've considered us besties ever since. So that was literally my brush with fame. Oh, and then one of the photographers for the school newspaper was there taking pictures of David Sanborn, and that is me on the side of the picture next to David Sanborn. So that's my claim to fame, is I was in the same picture with David Sanborn in the school newspaper. Man. Also in high school, oh my God, this is taking forever. This is why I've been putting off this episode. I knew it was going to take forever, and I knew I was going to talk too much. So I'll try to get going on this. So Neil Goldschmidt, the governor of Oregon at the time in 1989, Neil Goldschmidt was the governor, and because I was with the school's paper, I got to go to a press conference at some other high school, and we each got to go up to the microphone, each of the high school reporters, and ask Neil Goldschmidt a question, and I knew nothing about politics or anything, and because I was just taking a journalism class because it was fun, and our journalism teacher played Leslie Nielsen movies during lunch. I got to get out of class and do reporting. So anyway, I asked Neil Goldschmidt some bizarre question of, what are you going to do about keeping the transit system safe in Portland? And he said, well, that's actually an issue for your mayor of Portland to deal with. But then he, said some other stuff. But I got to talk with the governor. So that was another celebrity I got to talk to. All right. Okay, 1988. 88. It had to have been 88, okay, because it was then my senior year, and I was going to be one of the editors of the school newspaper. So I went to Eugene, Oregon, where my sister was going to the University of Oregon, and so while I was there, I was staying in her apartment for a month in Eugene, and she was like, you can't just hang around my apartment. You have to find something to do. Go get a job, go do something. And it's like, get a job? It's summer. I don't want to get a job. So I did something I thought would be exciting. I went to a radio station in Eugene, KSND, and it was close to campus. And I just went to the radio station and I said, hey, I'm bored. Can I do an internship at your radio station? You don't have to pay me anything. I'll just hang out here and, help you out with whatever you need help with. And the guy I was talking to was named Bwana Johnny. That was his radio DJ name, and he ran the station. And he was like, sure, you can hang out. That's cool. And he said, you can have these free cassette tapes. And so he pointed to a whole bunch of cassette tapes that were on his wall, and he let me take a bunch of cassette tapes. From the radio station. And so, that was like, this is a dream. I'm not going to get free cassettes at some, other job. And so for a month, I hung around KSND and helped them make the commercials, which, this was the 80s. We didn't have digital nothing. So we made carts. We had to, I remember the guy was using the music from the Blade Runner soundtrack to talk over to do some car commercial. And I helped him record it onto a 8-track cassette tape. And then I also helped, flip switches for their national radio thing. And it was just really cool hanging out in a radio station for a month. And I got to meet radio station DJ Bwana Johnny. And I recently saw a video of him on YouTube, and it was like from 1988 or something. And it was just like, that's him, that's Bwana Johnny. Oh, that's so cool. Brings back so many memories. Anyway, there was that experience. Concerts I went to, I'm counting concerts. So if I was in the same room with a celebrity, concerts count. And so in high school, who did I go see? I saw Billy Joel and Sting and Huey Lewis and Bruce Hornsby. And also my parents took me to a concert at the Schnitzer Concert Hall. We saw Ferranti and Teicher. They were these two pianists, and they had grand pianos, and they played together. And those guys were playing together for like 42 years, playing piano. And anyway, I saw them at a concert. And then I did a video here on YouTube talking about the Boy Scout Jamboree in 1985. And there I saw the Beach Boys and the Oak Ridge Boys, and Nancy Reagan flew in and gave a speech to us telling us not to do drugs. And so I'm going to count that as seeing celebrities. They were very far away, the Beach Boys and the Oak Ridge Boys, but I was in the same field. I was in the same vicinity of them, and I could see them even though they were very small. Okay, Tonya Harding, the famous ice skater. This was after she went to the Olympics. I think I was in college, and I went to some movie memorabilia collector's show at a hotel by the airport, and I think Tonya Harding was there signing autographs, and I saw her, and so that counts as a celebrity. And also in college, I saw Phil Collins in Tacoma, and I saw Bryan Adams play at Memorial Coliseum, summer of '69 guy. And I remember reaching up because he was playing the concert. He did a center stage. He played part of the stadium over here, and then halfway through the show, he switched to a smaller stadium right next to us. We're right very close to him. And I was this close to touching his guitar when he was playing. Anyway, that was Bryan Adams. Who else did I see? Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld came to my college when I was at the University of Portland. And this was before he did Seinfeld, or he was just getting his TV show started. So this was in 1991. Jerry Seinfeld came, and he did stand-up on our campus in some auditorium, and it was just really cool. I didn't know who he was. I'd seen him on Johnny Carson. But he was saying, yeah, I'm about to start this new TV show. I hope it's successful. And it was. So I got to see Jerry Seinfeld. And I was also driving through Portland, and I passed a movie set that was filming in the Montevilla area of Portland, I think on Stark Street, and I pulled the car over and walked over and I said, "What's going on?" And there was the crowd, and they said, "Mr. Holland's Opus is filming inside the cafe." And so in this picture, I swear to you, Richard Dreyfus is somewhere in that cafe. So I am counting that as I was in the vicinity of a celebrity. I didn't quite see him, but he was there. I'm pretty sure that was one of the scenes they filmed with him. That was part 1 of celebrities I have seen in real life. I hope you really enjoyed listening to me ramble on about celebrities I've seen, and I will post part 2, hopefully, Wednesday morning, and I will talk about the celebrities I saw while I was in college, and a trip to London and New York, and next Sunday I will post the celebrities I saw while I was in San Francisco. So thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you have a fun and fantastic week.